Pope Francis died on Easter Monday after a protracted illness. What was interesting to me, and again, I'm sending love and care and comfort to everyone who loved the pontiff, to everyone who is of the Catholic faith, but everyone else who just appreciated him. I mean, he was a very special guy. He was the most progressive pope we've seen, and which says a lot. Emanny, you grew up Catholic, no?
Yeah, I was baptized Catholic. Did my Holy Communion, did my confirmation. I'm very familiar with Pope Francis, and rest in peace, of course, to him. I really got a better insight on who he was through watching the Two Popes show, which was funny enough. I had no clue. Was kind of based off of his transition, because he was the first Pope, I think, that took over for an actual living Pope at the moment.
Right.
So it was just an interesting story. I kind of lost touch with my Catholicism as I got older, but I have nothing but respect for the religion. I do think.
Do Black Catholics, and I know you can't speak for all Black Catholic people, but
I'll try.
maybe just the light skinned ones. Do Black Catholics care about the Pope? And I mean that in the sense of I've seen white people be like, the Pope coming and they shaking and trying, because the Pope came to Philly, and when the Pope came to Philly, I guess almost a decade ago now. I don't know, it was a while ago, but maybe 5-6 years ago. People lost their minds. I mean, the city shut down for a week. And it was mostly white people who cared. But I wondered about the Black Catholics. Do y'all get invested in that stuff?
My mother, to rest in peace, to the day she went, she was Catholic. She stayed Catholic. She believed in the religion and every aspect of it. And when anything came up about the Pope, Archbishop, anything, she was there in tears, enjoying, embracing it. So yeah, and I have other Black family members who felt the same. It's not a black or white thing. It's that religion really I don't want to say speaks to a certain level of dedication, but you have to really be dedicated in a different way. Maybe not the same with other religions. There's some kind of, I won't say looseness, but there's a more calm. Catholicism is really strict. Strict. To follow, you have to be
strict.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to again honor, for me, watching one that was the most progressive of our lifetime. I can't think of a Pope in recent history beyond maybe Pope John the 23rd, who had quite the record that Pope Francis had. I saw this again, and people are saying this in the comments, right? Was calling churches every week in Gaza, spoke very clearly about that. In fact, in his last address on Easter, even while sick, was still committed to saying what was happening was terrible. In Palestine, also opened up interfaith dialogues that hadn't been happening, was talking about inclusivity in different ways, actually holding the church accountable for sexual abuse, talking about opening the doors to migrants, right? There are things that I think are very important. One of a few talking about climate change. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that while also having all of the critiques and remaining things that we have of Catholicism and other religious traditions. And also note in this moment, right, Christian evangelicals are celebrating his death right now. There's a
really
for that. Yes. I mean, he pulls in a very different direction as leader of this. I mean, he also is one of the most, in terms of, I mean, he's a, they would call him the DEI Pope. He has diversified the ranks of bishops from so many votes from Latin America and Africa and Asia to the positions of bishops within the Catholic Church since he did this. Even having conversations about LGBTQIA Catholics and people is something that feels very different to evangelicals. And if you noticed in Project 2025, there's kind of a radical far right Catholic group that's very important to the Project 2025 kind of agenda. And they're hoping, right, to get in the ears of certain people as the new pontiff will be, the process of having the new pontiff assigned to that role. And so he's also came in the crosshairs of many transnational corporations because of the way he's talked about labor and other things. So I don't want to underestimate the cultural significance of his loss and the fact that
do you think another pope, do you think the next pope, you know how you go from like Obama to Trump and Trump to Biden and Biden back to like, do you think the next pope is going to be super conservative?
My sense is yes, but I don't know. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, I'm heartened that he flanked himself with a different set of leadership around him as well, that hopefully there's a larger pool, right? This really does sound like a DEI, a larger pool of religious leaders to pull from, but there's a lot of pressure. I mean, he really took the Catholic Church in ways that I think ran against certain ideas and formidable places in the modern Catholic Church. And I think it's important to say that, and that, you know, I have many feelings about the Catholic Church, about Christianity, about all of these things, but I think that acknowledging where he stood in relationship to that tradition is really important. And I think he held that office in high esteem, held that role in very high esteem, and definitely garnered a level of respect I hadn't had for the pontiff in quite some time.
I got to say that's true. I mean, I was surprised at how progressive he was. And it's a shame that calling out the genocide in Gaza is seen as a progressive position.
That's right.
It's a human position to say we shouldn't kill babies, right? He wasn't progressive on things that I cared about, certain things like maybe IVF or something like that. Some things that are just what the church are about. You know, the church is never going to fully say like, you know, gay marriage is here but if you made like a list of 10 things, like he's at the top of the list. He's at the top of the list of popes and of progressive leadership or of leaders in terms of these progressive issues. So shout out to him. The last thing I want to say about this, and I got to move on, Manny, is Vice President J.D. Vance visited him yesterday. Now, I'm not I don't believe it.
Would you?
I just say it.
You think they took him out?
I'm thinking more like not like a conspiracy, like a sniper, more like there's a demon in our presence. Like it took all his spiritual energy to keep. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, like it's a hell of a coincidence. You know what I mean?
I do think the energy you put around you manifests some things. So
that's all I'm saying.
Let me just say that as far as this all goes, I really do hope that there is some level of balance and we just don't have a total switch. It will be felt. The supporters and the followers and the people who really look for the Vatican and the religion itself as direction and leadership, and the Pope being the top of that, to go from someone so progressive, so changing, and to, you know, it's like you said, it's the Obama to Trump switch. That's the last thing you need in your religion, especially when you're finding that all across around the world. Like there needs to be some balance. So no, I don't think that you're ever going to get somebody that progressive that soon, because I think they kind of figure that out. But if there's some way to get some balance, then great. They're
going to ask some different questions. Rosa Billy writes in and says, there's a community note on Tiny Pants Vance's condolences post about the touch of J.D. Vance's demonic hand. I'm not going to get into that part. I didn't know that they called J.D. Vance Tiny Pants Vance. I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't know that either.
I mean, I saw him, and Dr. Lindsey here is an Ohio State football fan, of course. And this is a good year to be one. She was one when they didn't win, so I got to give her that.
All right. So
I don't want to make it sound like you are a coattail rider or a bandwagon hopper. You've been consistent.
Outside of getting cursed out for maybe my Sade takes, I'll get cursed out now for just saying go Georgia Bulldogs. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm sorry.
You set yourself up.
I'm sorry.
Why Georgia?
At least you have a winning program. I mean, I don't even know why Dr. Hill is in this conversation.
Temple University won a game recently or two.
Yeah, they're good.
Excellent for them. Shout out to Temple University. No shade.
One day you'll get there.
CUNY, my guy.
That was all shade. But the only reason I was bringing it up was because J.D. Vance I watched him drop the trophy.
Well, yes.
Like you had one job. Just don't drop the trophy. That's like the only thing you can do to fuck this up.
I mean, J.D. Vance, I have so little to say. But, you know, I feel like he met the Pope and the Pope was like, I got to go tell God myself what this man is down here doing. Like, I didn't even need it to be demonic. Like, I got to tell God to their face.
Right.
God.
Right after Easter too.
People's gets
Right.
people's like what?
Yeah, it's time to go.
I gave it up. I gave the last couple years I could have had on this planet being the pontiff to come up here and tell you this
Right.
ain't it.
I tell you face to face, this shit ain't working.